Okay, for today's painting, I'm working on a 9x12 canvas board, and I have the following brushes. This is my set of 5 brushes. I'll have a link below where you can check these out. 2 rigger, 3 round, 1-inch flat, 1-inch mop, and a 1-inch filbert brush. The colors I'm using today are phthalo blue, Mars black, crimson red, cadmium yellow, and titanium white. You can change up your brushes and colors and canvas to your liking. Use whatever you want or whatever you prefer at this time. So we're going to begin the painting with adding a little bit of water to the canvas, and then we're going to add some black, white, and blue. So I'm just going to take my flat brush here and spread the water around evenly. You just need a little bit of water to dampen the canvas, and what that does is it really helps to blend the acrylics out, and it keeps your paint a little bit wet longer. Okay, so we're going to start with some white and a little bit of blue. Then we're going to go into some black. Take some more white. Okay, before that dries, we're going to take our mop brush. You just want to have a dry mop brush for this step. And we're just going to go over the canvas and just soften. I'm purposely leaving this area a little bit brighter than the rest, just because we're going to have some soft light coming in from there. Okay, and just going to add the final brush strokes on an angle like this to create some soft shadows in between the soft light rays we're going to add later on. The next thing we're going to do is take our round brush and we're going to add a little bit of black and blue, and we're going to add a few little trees in the background. Just going to lightly pull up. You can add these trees onto a dry canvas if your paint is dry already, or if it's still wet like mine is, you can come in and add it either way. It doesn't matter. In fact, you may find it a little bit easier adding the wet paint into wet paint, because it keeps the paint in your brush loose. The water can really help glide that paint out of your brush onto the canvas or over the canvas. Okay, it doesn't matter if your trees are straight or if they're leaning, thick or thin. The idea is just to have some trees and branches going on back here. Okay, I'm going to rinse this brush out and switch over to our rigger brush. Now you're going to want to get your rigger brush wet and pull into a little bit of that paint, and I'll show you how to add some delicate little branches. You have the right amount of water and paint in your brush. You shouldn't need to press hard, and that way you can have these little delicate wispy branches. Adding a little bit more water to my brush now and paint, and it also helps with control to hold the brush further down the handle. That way you're a little bit looser and lighter with the pressure you're applying. Okay, now I'm going to take my filbert brush and add a little bit of yellow in with that blue and black, and that's going to give us this deep sap green, even an olive green, depending on how much yellow, what shade of yellow. You can make so many different shades of green depending on the temperatures of your yellows and blacks. And then we're just going to start tapping in lightly. I don't have a lot of paint on my brush or in my brush. And then you can make some moss hanging off those trees too. Gonna mix up a little bit more here. I'm going to start coming down here. Turning my brush as I'm blending out the rest of that deep green. Okay, I'm just going to soften and blend out a little bit this green up here. Clean my brush, and then we're going to completely dry this off and start adding some foggy mist, that kind of thing, and some soft warm light. Okay, so now we're going to go over to our flat brush. You want to make sure it's a little bit damp, not dripping with water, but just a little bit damp. Mine is damp enough just after washing it and drying it off on a towel. And we'll take a little bit of white and yellow. And I'm going to start adding it up here. Let's see how it's transparent, right? We don't want to completely cover everything up. We just want to create a little bit of transparency here. Soft sun rays mixed with some fog. Okay, then I'm going to come in here with some black, some blue, a little bit of yellow, and I'm going to add a big tree in here. just have some tree roots coming down here. Okay, I'm going to rinse this brush out, and then I'm going to go over to my rigger brush and take some yellow and white, a little bit of that green in there. I kind of twist and pull my brush and get a little scoop of that on the end. And I'm going to come just outside this big tree trunk. And add some bright mossy highlights. You might want to just kind of wiggle around. It'll help add a little bit of texture. Lightly brush over inside. I'll go back into that green now, that deep, deep green. Add a little bit of that yellow to it. And just add a little bit of twisty vines or bumps in, I don't know, just a little texture and pattern in the tree, but still very dark and subtle. I just take my filbert brush and soften this. Take a tiny bit of yellow and white. Work most of that out of my brush. And then I'm going to just add a little bit more light. This is going to give it a greenish tone back here once it dries too. In fact, it already is kind of looking a little bit green already. And we're going to come in with our figure now. We're going to come in with some red and some black. And we'll have her right here. We're going to add a little rounded triangle, like so. This will be for her hood. Okay, then we're going to have her shoulders. A little bit more black in there. I'm going to start with a darker base. I'm going to paint a long flowing cloak. Okay, and then we're going to take some more red. And I'm adding this red where I want it to be the brightest, where the highlights would be hitting it. So wherever we have a line that goes kind of curved upward like that, the fabric will be popped out more and the light will hit it more. Okay, we're going to have a little bit of black underneath here. I'm going to pull some red in here again. I'm going to rinse this brush out, dry this off, and then start coming in with our brighter highlights. Okay, so I'm going to go in with some red again. I'm going to turn my brush to make narrow lines, and then they're going to be wider down here. This will just give us some pleats. Then I'm going to come in with a little bit of black. For some more shadows. This is her shoulder here, her arm coming down. sleeve. Elbow would be right here. Take a little bit of yellow in with that red. Just want to get a nice balance in here of shadows and still make it look like a velvety cloak. So not too bright, not too dark. Then I'm going to add a little bit of black under the hood. And I'm going to come down here with a little bit of black, a little on the side here, just to darken the edges of the tree. And we'll take a little bit of that yellow, blue, black. I turn my brush like this using the belly and just, barely touching. Then we'll go into a little bit of white and yellow. We'll hint of light in there. And just soften, get as close to the dress with the corner of my brush here. And just a last little bit of green. That's the right shade. Not too dark, not too light. In between this yellow and the rest of the tree. I'm going to add a highlight with the liner rigger brush, some white, red, a little bit of yellow in there. Now a little bit more light, a little bit more of the white and the yellow. Okay, this painting is all done. I hope you guys enjoyed this Red Riding Hood tutorial. Thanks for watching and have fun painting yours. I'll see you soon. Bye.